the impact, of course, negative impact by Jacob Zuma's daughter to further incite those angry youths to perpetrate more violence is a thing that I'm not comfortable with as a person, because if your own dad was accused, he has not been sentenced yet. It was even fair hearing. You're looking at your status, being the chief, but you made yourself cheap. You're looking at your status, and you are the one that created that atmosphere for you to be investigated. $2.5 billion spent, in quotes, on purchase of arms. You should have to account for it. They just asked you, you expended this money. Can you give an account of the processes or procedures that took place?
You can liken it to security votes in Nigeria.
No,
but we
it wasn't security vote. If there had been security vote over there,
yeah,
they would have questioned it.
All right.
You said you bought so large number of things.
Cash of arms.
They have asked you, okay, where are those items? How much did you actually spend on it? That's so you're issuing a query. To be issued a query, it doesn't mean that you'll be angry. Why did you do it? You had the opportunity to express all that you need to do, all the documentations, various ministries that were involved in it. You collect those information, then you present before the panel. That would have settled it. He was looking at himself that, do you know who you are talking to? If you knew the kind of person you were, why commit such, in quote, havoc? So the constitution that brought him to power in 2009 is the same constitution that is against corruption, that has been invoked to make sure that it gives account of what is spent. By running away, it shows some level of pride. Who are you to ask me such questions? You should be accountable to the people. You should be responsible to your country. So those youths that went out in violence were not actually because of him. They were tired. Not to say that he was having loyalists in that direction. Yeah. So those destructions that took place, to the extent the Indians that live in South Africa, they didn't spare them.
They were attacked too.
They were attacked too. So was it that the Indians gathered to arrest or to accuse Jacob Zuma of corruption? So the whole thing that played out didn't make sense. And everything went out because of the attitude of Jacob Zuma. It was what that ignited the violence, and can be charged to court further for the lives that were lost and all the wanton destructions that took place there. I'm not impressed by that attitude. Very unpresidential, as it were.
Well, he's an ex-president, but still unpresidential or ex-presidential, whatever. All right, now, before he surrendered himself to the police, a human chain was formed around his abode saying you can't arrest our leader. And after that, he surrendered himself. Do you think that should have been enough sign for Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, to take heed? Do you think that he failed in his responsibility to safeguard the lives and properties of those that were affected?
Well, first of all, let me commend the legal system of South Africa. Not respecting personalities or looking at constitution. He's going to court. It's not even for the fact that you are corrupt. It's for contempt of court. You know, and when you refuse, as a chief, you should show example. That's some of the things. If he went there to show himself, they will give him accord him the respect and talk with him. Secondly, is the fact that we keep, you see, human beings keep denying facts of issues. When they talk about, they form the chain, I keep saying that. Yeah. People say you cannot be arrested. No police went through the barricade to arrest you. It wasn't Ramaphosa that issued his warrant of arrest. The president has nothing to do with it. It's a court system. The court says this, and because you are guilty of a court system, they say you go to prison. When they formed barricade, the court didn't even issue another subpoena. When he himself was going to surrender, would he have addressed his people to say, look, it's just like we're talking about in South Africa, in America, for instance. Yeah. They have said what you said about the elections are no. caused the insurrection. The president would have gone back to address the country to say, I'm sorry for what has happened. Please, let us stay back and defend this thing. He's still making the statements. So what are you talking about? It means you are employing the people to take up arms on your behalf. And that's what, we don't know what he said to them in an inner chamber that led to some things. But we are saying, people have also been talking about the issue of economy. And I keep telling myself, Ramaphosa didn't cause the economy of South Africa for today. He met it. Zuma was in charge for 2 terms. What did he do? How did he try to solve the problems? I'm sure if he solved the problem in Zululand, the people would be poor. So, if the people are now fighting for him, say they are king, they are defender, I don't know what defender they are talking about in the first place.
According to them, he's a defender.
Defender of what? You see, Zululand is a part of South Africa.
Yeah.
And South Africa is ruled and governed by laws. He subscribed to these laws. So why would you not think that because you are not the person, the law cannot? This is what happens in Africa. This I keep saying that African leaders see themselves as gods. And once anything happens, people who see themselves as subjects, they are ready to lay down their life, even when they have been the one taking the brunt of the bad governance of their leader, which we need to talk about. But like I also said, the South African president should also have an anticipatory, the political, the police architecture and the security architecture should have thought ahead to say, look, these things might happen. We are talking of a chief in his land. You can't go to a chief's domain and expect a good welcome. You do some of this. So they should have also learned to do that. And you see, we also keep saying that we do not even anticipate issues happening. African leaders, I don't know what happens. You see what happens every night in America, for instance. When something happens, after that insurrection, you see what they have done. They make sure that there are barricades that you cannot get to a point. They make sure that there are points of which you cannot pass with your car. These are issues that should have been taking place. Somebody is already having this problem. You must be able to say, look, within this point to this moment, somebody will want to be able to pass here. Yeah. Let us make sure we have these things secure. We're talking about the Indians. Don't forget that as far as the South Africans are concerned, Indians are their economic enemy. Because they are the ones they think have enslaved them while they are looting their treasure. And they were linked to Zuma in his time of governance, that he has colluded with them in defrauding the South African economy. So they saw the opportunity of, and that's what always happened. Okay. Everywhere in the world, not just Africa. People seize on opportunities. Any violence, look at it. Majority of those who looted, who created problems, have no idea as to the situation that is on ground.
We are coming to tell you, now this is what they call the Tangled Web. Now, rightfully speaking, he had a deal with the Indians. They worked together, according to him, to make the economy more robust. But somewhere along the line, he started dwindling. And right now, these are people saying that they want him released. They are fighting for him, so to speak, and they are attacking the Indians whom he had deals with in the past. How can you relate this?
Zuma, why he was there as president, as commonly as a human being, if you're in charge of a community, you will have to look for a way to stabilize yourself and the project you're leading. I'm sure that was what Zuma attempted to do. But along the line, things fell apart. And the situation we have found ourselves in now in Africa, that there's a common denominator among African leaders. That, as Reverend rightly said, you now begin to see yourself that without me, nothing will ever take place, whether while in office or when you're out of office. Zuma is out of office. He's still behaving as though he's the president. That immunity has been taken away from you. If you are a chief of a particular community, that community is still domiciled in a country. And the laws governing that country should also affect you. So the relationship he had with the Indians that later failed, and all of this put together, some persons, they know all of this we are saying now in South Africa, that the Indians are still part of the problems we are having in South Africa. So that's why I'm not so surprised why the violence tilted in that direction. So no thanks to to Zuma. What Ramaphosa is doing now is a continuation of where he stopped, good and bad. So you live and let live. It's creating more problems for the present president. So I am of the opinion that Jacob Zuma should submit himself to the laws or the constitution of that country. Whether all the aggressions that they've had over the years, traceable to Indians or whosoever, this is the right time now to create peace. And that's what Ramaphosa is trying to do now. There's a kind of palpable peace taking place in South Africa right now. I think within this week now, better things will have been achieved.
All right. Now, some people are saying that it's not only Indians, or was not only Indians that were, like, you know, affected in the protest. That this seems to be an extension of the xenophobia that South Africa has been accused of. Do you agree to this hypothesis?
You see, every opportunity creates an action. There's built up anger. See, one of the things I've also found out in African countries, I also a little bit experienced it in the Caribbean. Indigenes believe that foreigners are their problem, forgetting that the foreigners bring in resources to help your economy. The indigenes don't have the resources, but they see them as bad competitors. They come to take their jobs, they come to take their things. And that's an education that the African government has not been able to create, to give the citizens understanding that you need these foreigners to bring in their resources and manage it, you know, and that's what the problem is. When you see, after the apartheid, unfortunately, African leaders do not really toe the line of successive governments. Each person wants to create his own empire, try to look at what he did. If they had toed the line of South African president after the apartheid, he laid down the foundation. Successive governments have not been able to build on it in the manner that it should go around. As blacks, mostly from the suburbs, are still looking at foreigners from the apartheid angle. And until that consciousness is removed, you keep having this problem. Any little thing, you go to the foreigners, you loot their shops. After looting the shop, does that create enabling economic environment? It depreciates it. Because those who were even trying to hire people to run businesses, they are gone. So you're going to start from the bottom and try to see how you can build. And most people will not even bring in their resources again because they are afraid it may happen in such a manner. So I believe that this is where past presidents and leaders should form a vanguard of hope for the people, so that they can begin to understand that it's a process. You cannot wipe out the problem in a day.
In a day. Okay, you just hold on, Reverend. Want to go for a break? When we return, we'll continue this discussion. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. This is Africa Discourse. It's all about the unrest in South Africa, aftermath of Zuma's arrest. Reverend, we're with you. Please, Uncle, so I'll throw the next question at Honorable Frank Amigo.
Yes, I'm saying that if we keep dislocating without building on what you have met, you will not be able to make progress. Because there's nothing that happens in a day. There's no economy that grows overnight. It goes through a process and then stabilizes and then make progress. We need to do that. So president, and that's why politicians need to be very careful of what they promise. Don't promise to build castle in the air when you know it cannot be built. You know, and you know how many years you have. So these are some of the things. And that's why I'm very much impressed sometimes with Malema.
Yeah.
He goes to harass those presidents and all of them. He's speaking the truth. It's just that people are looking at him as a combatant. People are looking at him, they're not taking the things he's saying and try to make good use of it. And that's why politicians in Africa fail, which is also happening right now, like in America.
Yeah.
America has left its old tradition, and they are fighting along party lines, while the Africans are fighting along ethnic lines.
Nice. All right, all right. Now, he blamed the government for what he's going through. And some persons are backing that mentality of Jacob Zuma after you have the executive order. He is an ex-president. Come on, tap on the wrist and let him go. Do you think that Cyril Ramaphosa should have taken that part for peace to reign?
Yeah, there's no peace to reign along that line. Peace will only reign in the atmosphere of truth, justice. What people are expecting Ramaphosa to do is just to wave it off. You don't. If you do, in law, there's something they call it, I don't know. Somebody is committing a crime and you are aiding and abetting. Yeah, that's it. So it was observed that the $2.5 billion purchase of arms and ammunition did not go down well with the country. So that information came up. I'm sure that information would have leaked out from Jacob Zuma's former cabinet. But that Ramaphosa wasn't part of it. So they checked all the documents and discovered that the claim was false or not so clear. So you now come and explain. Nobody has sentenced you to life imprisonment yet. Just explain it. The few days or few months given to him in prison was because he didn't accept to appear in court. Contempt of court. That does not show any sentence at any point. So what the Ramaphosa is doing now in his administration is to ensure that the truth be made open. That you want to be investigated does not show that Ramaphosa wants to kind of rubbish you when you were a former president. Just tell us what you did with the money. And having said that, the court will not say that your reason or reasons are tenable or not. We have never gotten to that point in time. Then if you now expect the city president to just overlook that, that shows that the nation of South Africa will not ever make progress anymore. Because once Ramaphosa sees such a loophole, it will hijack it, then the next president will also waive it. And then the economy will go down, go deeper and deeper into recession and all that. So what I see that the president is doing now, Ramaphosa is doing now, is to establish a common ground for everybody to see. You accused former President Jacob Zuma of corruption, and now he's able to come out of it free and he's not corrupt. So that will mark a turning point for the movement to progress of the nation of South Africa. So for people to think otherwise, that South Africa should just let go about whatever corruption allegations leveled against former President Jacob Zuma, that is not a right direction to make progress in a country such as South Africa. Right. So it should be probed.
It should be probed.
It should be probed.
Now, some are saying that this is like an escape route for Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, knowing fully that the economy is not doing well. He wants to shift blame to Jacob Zuma, saying that money couldn't account for. That is the reason why we are where we are today. Is there sense in that mathematics, so to speak?
No, I think people are just trying to be economic with the truth. You know, because the issue of the armed deal was not subject from Ramaphosa's dispensation. It was even from Zuma's dispensation. It's just that it's justice delayed, it's justice denied. It was just a delay. But there were people in the Senate, like people like the Malema, who will not allow that in rest.
Yeah.
You know, that is it, again, don't forget that Ramaphosa was a part of Nelson Mandela's gang. Himself and Becky and Co. They were all part of the same thing. It's Zuma that was even from the left outside of the matter. When Becky was made president, it was because of Zuma that the man did only wanted. Because there was this wrangling. And people needed, when that thing was happening, they needed Ramaphosa to come in. Not because they needed, but that's also why Malema had the problem with Zuma, that he left and formed his party. Because Zuma, Malema, Ramaphosa Becky and Co. They were all the same place. So people had trusted these ones because they were those who led the apartheid team. Yeah, some of the things. So him coming back was as if he needed to resolve to what was happening before. And that was going to be against Zuma's interests and some of them. But again, I think people place politics above what you might call governance for the people. Okay. You know, which I think that should have happened. If there's a problem, resolve it. If you have resolved it before time, they will get, if like I said, you were asked to come and give a testimony. No, everybody can give a testimony. Nobody says you are guilty. Nobody says you are a thief. It happened in your time. Can you come and give us some information? Because as president, you will have given approvals. If your minister did something and you gave approval, the buck lies at the table of the president. And it's okay if the prime minister, if the people involved couldn't give satisfactory answer, and there's some comments, okay, just come and help us so that we can make a good completion of our commission. And you're saying no. Then you have all the guilt. You know, and that's pride and arrogance. And if that happens, the country is going down. That's the point, which means it's a lawless country. So law must take its course. So I do not think that even if there was going to be guilt, I'm not sure that at the end of the day, Ramaphosa would have been very hard on him. These are assumptions. But you have given yourself now a position that you can never even have a leniency. It may not be possible. And these are some of the things that they need to learn. So let him, as a former president, as a chief, learn to do what is right.
Right. All right. The chief of one of the largest tribes in South Africa, if not the largest, talking about Zulu.
Yes, the largest.
I mean, people are like saying that the followership and, of course, the indigenes of that particular tribe in South Africa, they are so enormous, they are so massive that we've not even seen. All of them is just a fraction of some people or persons that came out to say, we don't like what you are doing to our chief. If all should come out, it may just be like hell letting loose in South Africa. Now, still on the protest, some are saying the president should be wary. The reason why they choose to down to is because they want to honor the late Madiba. After all, over the week was a time set aside by the UN to honor Madiba. After honoring this man, it is going to be free for all. How do you view that?
we expect that not to come to pass.
All right.
Because it's a lesson for us South Africans to learn from. The man, Nelson Mandela, was selfless. He was never accused or maybe arrested or convicted in his own country along the line of arms deal or corruption or whatsoever. So it's a lesson for Jacob Zuma to learn as a person. I will tell his own daughter that still went about inciting people against the government of South Africa. Nelson Mandela never did that. So if they can calm down a little bit, remove pride, remove arrogance, and learn from what the life and times of Nelson Mandela, that should usher in more peace in the country. If you want to relax a bit while celebrating the life and times of Nelson Mandela, then go back to it, that calls for kind of a psychiatric testing. Because the nation you are having now, a lot of persons died to have you, to give you a nation called South Africa. And this is a man we are celebrating. This should be the reason why all anger should be brought low. In a responsible home, for instance, if you allow me to say it along this line, between a husband and wife, they're having some disputes among them. Then a very senior person in that family comes to visit. That they should use our venue to just settle themselves out. Because the guests that came, the wife will be instructed by the husband, get this for him. The wife will signal to the husband, do this, do that. And that one will usher in peace. So Nelson Mandela is a guest now. Ramaphosa is the husband. Zuma is the wife. So after this celebration, the guest is gone. So thank God that man just came to help us settle this matter. Yeah. Let's allow sleeping dogs lie. So this celebration of Nelson Mandela's life and times should be the platform upon which better peace, progress should be brought to the table of South Africa.
Do you see it happening?
Well,
because there are still waiting, so that's still chanting that after Madiba will go out again and stuff like that.
I wish and believe that will happen. But sometimes we talk about an uneasy calm. You know, people pretend that everything is right until the visitor leaves.
So you're saying it?
Yes, because where is Zuma now? He's in prison.
He's in prison.
So you cannot tell his people that they should leave him there. As far as he's concerned, they should release him. So if you are going to let peace reign, I would have expected that to me, the president should intervene for the sake of the country to ask the court to let him go. Since he has surrendered himself, let's give him that as a matter of honor so that he can go back home and let peace reign. If not, the people will come back. You know, and when they come back, it's not going to be full force between the citizens and the armed forces. Because now the government has ramped up the armed forces, they've called back all the retired people to the place, and so it's going to be war, and many people are going to die. Are you going to let people die because you want to arrest one person? That's what they should be thinking. Your arresting of Nelson Mandela does not bring the armed back in the first place. But just that the law will say it takes its course. Let Zuma go back to that commission and answer the query, you know. But let them release him in honor also of Mandela, who has suffered all the things for the sake of, because there are people you do something for not because of who they are, but because of certain reasons that doesn't happen. Yeah. South Africa is much more important as a nation than one individual, than even the pride of anybody. So there are some of the things. This is how I would look at it. But I hope that it happens and the peace continues to reign, because the many families that are suffering right now, they didn't bargain for it. They were not those who caused those problems, and the government may not be able to give them the support they need. It's now AIDS and other people that are coming to help them, even in hospitals. You can't. So they should look at all those issues and ask themselves, is this thing worth all the while? If it's not worth going for, to some point, let the sleeping dog lie. The South African government have been going on with all those, right, and none of them. But the fact that there's a commission, but the fact that this judgment had to come, we show to others who would have loved to do something, that if you do something, you will be held accountable for it.
All right, over to you. He said they should let peace reign in honor of late Nelson Mandela, whom the world chose to celebrate, because I was saying that was the reason why there was peace. Some people call it the graveyard peace, that these guys have gone back to reinforce. Even at the fact that retired personnel of the armed force, if the police were all called back to base, you have to come. Do you see the court revoking his position when we talk about the stand on Jacob Zuma, him being released for peace to reign?
Yes, as I said in my opening remarks, that what is playing out now is not 100% about Jacob Zuma. It's an aggregation of aggression over the years, so many things put together. And if Jacob Zuma is let out of prison now, it may not really address the matter. You're looking for something to hold on to. Hence SARS. They started hearing bad governance. President must go. Is it the president that answers? So if you let go Jacob Zuma now, I don't think the problem of South Africa is solved. It's going to be solved. It's not going to be solved. But as Reverend Australia suggested, in honor of our beloved patriots, as we are celebrating now, they just use the opportunity. And truly, this is the most auspicious occasion to say, okay, just because of, in spite of what you did, but because of this, let go, then you'll be reporting to the Commission of Inquiry, then on and on like that. So if the president does that now, there'll be relative calm. But the youths in the streets will not be happy, because the reason or reasons they had for coming out en masse was because of that. Just an opportunity they were looking for, and they got it.
To express their anger.
So if the president can hold on to this situation now, celebrating Nelson Mandela, and from there look at the countenance of each of the persons around him to see that if Nelson Mandela situation now about celebrating him is used as an opportunity to let go Jacob Zuma, let's see what happens to the youth on the streets. If after releasing Jacob Zuma, they still went out, you know that this is the actual reason why they are clamoring for destruction of lives and property.
Yeah. All right. Now, Reverend, with the destruction of lives and properties in South Africa, do you see it affecting the judgment on all litigations that are before court due to the misgivings of the former president, Jacob Zuma?
Well, I don't think, in a normal, sensible environment, those things shouldn't be linked. I keep saying that. Because every man give account of his work.
You use the clause in a normal, sensible environment, but in this situation,
you know, there's a lot of the things have gone berserk. You cannot appease an angry man with statements. You know, he needs something. I believe that what the country should do is the president to address the nation. You know, address the things that are happening, especially with the economic situation of the people, and let them know what he's doing to bring about an economic enterprise for all of them. Because if they don't see hope, there's nothing, as far as they are concerned, there's nothing to lose. It's the people that have something to lose. They don't have anything to lose. That's how they go about destroying anything. People have died. So, but they should be able to know that destroying what is even on ground now does not help you get to where you are going to. It sets you backwards. You know, and that's the thing they should know. But then it takes a long time for you to appease an angry man. It takes a long time. How do you appease an angry man? Zuma is a part of that process, because his neighborhood is what is the one that is mostly affected by it, because they're the largest single community in it. He should be able to go back and address some of the things. And I'm also sure on his own personal grounds, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of resources he has that he can deploy to his own community to help them do what needs to be done, which he will not do anyway. That's some of the things. I keep saying these are some of the problems we have in Africa and some of the people across the world. The people have money. They put them in reserve somewhere just for their own souls. But the people they are supposed to be taken care of are suffering. You know, South Africa, by all standards, shouldn't be a poor country. Okay, just like Nigeria. They have a lot of resources, and they are more advanced in governance than us because of what has happened over the period. So they should have had an upper hand in growth and some of the things. But you see, that's why people are asking, is the black man cursed? I don't believe the black man is cursed. It's just that we have decided to be lazy in our mental thoughts. And, you know, and because we don't use the best hands and material to do what we are doing, we are there. Bribery and corruption has done a lot of harm. You know, if the business deal with the Lebanese was done in a transparent manner, South Africa would have benefited more from it. You know, but they were done in shady deals that the individuals benefited from it. And most of the time, the poor people are looking for an opportunity to go and destroy that thing. You know?
And they just got it.
But unfortunately, they can't get there. They can't get to those who have those things in their hands. So it's only the mediocre people who are supposed to be servicing them that are unfortunate and they do what we have seen. And then again, some fellow Africans who are also there from other countries who ran away from where they are, brought their resources to come and help you. They have destroyed that. So they don't have hope where they are. They don't have hope where they are going to. So the hopelessness is going around. And I hope that Ramaphosa is able to put on his thinking cap with the parliament, with the executive, to do what needs to be done.
All right, before we call it a wrap on this show, gentlemen, you know, a word of advice to African leaders taking a lead from what is happening in South Africa. People are saying that this piece we're seeing right now in South Africa is just like a graveyard piece. Once the accord given to Nelson Mandela has come and gone, it's going to be free for all again. Advice, please.
Yes, I can counsel them along the line of life after now. Life after now in the sense that if at the end of the day Jacob Zuma is released, Ramaphosa is no longer the president, would they still continue destroying everywhere? So they should live and let live. And it's a lesson for all African leadership, so to speak, because we are craving for independence. Nigeria got its own in 1960. Less than 10 years, war broke out. South Africa, we want to have our own type of leadership. They got it, war broke out. So what are we really after? Is it that we are not really matured enough to lead ourselves? I think I should stop with that question.
Right.
We're not mature enough.
All right, Reverend.
Yeah, I think that the problem with us is that we think we know what we have, we know needs, but we don't know the process to get there. We need independence. We need economic survival now, but what do we take to get there? Then people should be able to learn how to think, how to wait for gratification, and then the leaders should be able to know that they were not elected to enrich themselves. They were elected to solve the problem of those who elected them. So they should be very sensitive to the needs and aspirations of those who elected them to office.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. Well, you've heard them. They've spoken at length. It's all about the arrest in South Africa, aftermath of Zuma's arrest. Do you think the peace they're experiencing right now is out of a graveyard after the revered Madiba is given his honor and, of course, respect? Do you see the youth going back again to the street? Or do you see Ramaphosa stepping in, using his executive power as a president to tell the court to release Jacob Zuma for peace to reign? Is a matter or a case of tangled web? What do you think will be the outcome of other litigations leveled against Jacob Zuma with what they are seeing right now in South Africa? Is it going to have an impact in the judgment of those cases? Only time will tell. Bye for now.